What's going on, everybody? In this video, this is the third video about the Anyma. We made a song from start to finish in style of Anyma, and in this third video we will be focusing on the bass sound design in the Anyma song. So this is what we will be do after we finish. What we get after we finish the song. So let's see. This is not what we do. Sorry, I just select my main bass. Got some vocals from some TV series.
Belki de bu yüzden yalnızca cesurların işidir badana.
So this is what we're going to do in this video. So what's Anyma have in its bass line for me? It has sub bass, main bass, and lots of bass variation. Like this is a bass variation. And this is another bass variation. Bum, 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 bum. Yes. And this is another bass variation. So you said yourself, like, how can I create those basses? It's so too complicated for some bass. Like he's doing dun, 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 and then after that, is you make your sound with your mouth, like you automate yourself actually, right? While using your mouth. So that's what Anyma does. It's automating lots of its song, like dum dum, you automated with something. But in the bass, from my sub bass and main bass, I don't automate much stuff. Let's first begin with the sub bass. It's actually the most basic one. What I have in. Bum, 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 bum. I just cut a high level part in this EQ8, and let's read on the span and open up the serum together and hear it. You see that, right? I just got some component, mostly in around 1 kHz, which is minus 78 dB. Only hearable frequency is around those, which is 200, maybe 300. Okay, so what I have in basic solve with 2 octave downs, some low pass filter with adjusted filter, and filter's cutoff frequency linked to the envelope. It's very short envelope. It's got boom. You see that, right? Boom, boom, boom. So boom, boom, boom. It will go along like that. So in the effects part, I'm just using some hypers and distortion, and that's it for my sub bass. It's very clean. You can hear every note I press. So as I create my low level part with the sub bass, I just cut all the low level parts in my other basses, like bass variations, main bass, or any bass sound I have. I just cut the low level part with my EQ to not clash the sub bass and main bass. Okay, so sub bass and all other basses. So let's go over with my main basses sound. So I'm gonna create that effect by using a simple tone filter. This is a free plugin. And let's look at in this pen and open up the serum again. Let's see here. So you see some ripples in those ones, right? So before going into sound design, if I see that ripple very close to each other, I can clearly say that I have some sub basses. Okay, because these ripples must belong to some soul waves or anything familiar like that. So how can I create that sound? If I remove my 1 octave down soft bass, you hear it's very weak, right? So I got my support from the 1 octave down oscillator with level a little bit decreased than my main oscillator, which is oscillator A, and I add some unison to the oscillator A, and again using some low pass filter, and adjust my filter frequency. At this time I'm not going to the high level part, I am actually going between low and high. You see that, right? So this is what I'm creating, it some variations in my sound. And unison, what this unison does is create some multiple voices for oscillator A. So if I press some single mid note, let me open up my MIDI keyboard. Sorry, just got some cables everywhere. Let me plug my MIDI keyboard. Okay, let me just select my. Let's press this note C. Let me decrease my unison. Let me close my tone filter. You see that I'm adding ripple more and more. I'm creating multiple sounds, as you can see from the wave. I just add some elements around 200 Hz if I increase my unison. Okay, so that's what unison does. Let me close my MIDI keyboard. So this is what unison does in sound design. And how can you adjust some frequencies? Let me just duplicate my channel. How can you look at reference track? Let me just add some sub and close that and open up spin again. You see that I got my component around 1 to 120 and another sub component which we call a harmonic in the digital signal processing. If you've got any electrical or electronics engineering or something familiar degree or knowledge, you will find that. Okay, so let me increase 1 octave. You see that it's moving 1 octave. I got my ripple. Okay, I don't wanna okay. Sorry. Let me use basic shapes. You see that if I got my ripples like that, it's around 50, 30, 40, and moving on like that. Okay, so let me. Okay, so that's, if I see those types of waves, I can clearly say it has some sine waves in it, because it has main ripples, and all the ripples push real low levels. All the harmonics push real low levels, even the second harmonics. Let's move on to the saw wave. You see that all ripples around them, and if I see that wave, let me freeze that. Let me not play that song. Okay. I'm just going to do that. As you can see, I don't want to rip your ears off. There's much more ripple, and the ripple levels is actually around the same level as my main ripple. So I can clearly say that this is actually around saw waves. Let me change the wave. This is a triangular wave because its ripples is around 1, 3, 4, 5, and it's going like that, right? So as you can see, some waveforms like that, you can clearly identify it as there's some triangular wave. Let me go and move to the square wave. And square wave graph is, if you get some DSP lessons, digital signal processing lessons, you'll get those forms. Without knowledge, you can clearly say that this is a square wave. How can you identify between those and those? You see that ripples are forming each other. This is close. Look at the square waves graph, right? As you can see, some ripples like that. This is not the same as that one because the ripple level are really low. This one is really high. As I'm moving my waveforms like that, you can identify some sounds by just looking at their graphs. I don't want to give you too much information. So this is my main bass. In the FX part, I'm again using some distortion and hyper. That's it. Because I don't use too much automation in my main bass and sub bass, I'm using automation in the bass variation part. Let's hear the bass variation. Actually, it sounds melody and bass. What I'm using is, first of all, automation is auto pan. Pan the sound between left and right. Okay. My second automation is adjusting the filter resolution and reverb. To create some automation. In second automation, I'm using the filter cutoff. I'm adjusting the filter cutoff. So what I have in the bass variation part is some saw waves. Let me drop some spin in that part too. I'm not. Let me go on like that. Okay. As you can see, those ripples. You see that, right? They're very much ripple. I can clearly say it has some saw waves, but it's actually very doom doom type of song. It's low. You can say that this is some low level part, like some in G1 or some notes like that. And let's hear without that. Nothing actually might change, but it's got some low level parts oscillation. It's adjusting that, but not just low level part. So you can identify it as not saw wave, because not just high level part boosted, but not all ripples boosted. So you can clearly say that that's waveform is actually triangular wave, right? You can actually use your reference track and cut some frequency band and put it in some span. This is free plugin again. And looking at the frequencies, you can clearly say some waveforms. Maybe close one. Okay, so what I have in my variation bass, it's some weird sine sub bass, some saw wave again, and some triangular wave. So I'm using a lot of unison in the saw wave, and again cutting the low part, and by using a mode, I'm just adjusting the high level part. Okay. in this part, it's actually very important. I'm using two LFOs. One LFO is actually adjusting my filter frequencies, like boom. Let's go moving to the high level part. You see that boom, make that sound. In the second oscillator, I create very sharp waveform and adjust the CRS pitch of my sound. Let me just bypass that. It's actually something like, but if I use my LFO, you see that, right? It's actually got much bassier, not just some eek sound. It's boom, boom, not bang, bang. Okay? Why I sound like some Simpsons character. Okay, so in the FX part, I use a lot of effects. Like, I don't use delays. I'm using some, again, distortion, chorus to get some ambient. Just a little bit of compression and reverb, of course. Yeah, that's how my sound and the bass variation. So let's look at Anyma's signature bass. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. So before going to that bass, actually I forget something. My variations. As you can see, I variate my song from mode to note. This is actually dependent to your ear and what you want. Let's create some automation like that. Use whatever you want. Automation like that, okay? Automation is an important parameter in my sound design. Just think of like that. You go in the music store and got yourself some basic synthesizer, okay? Not the plugin type, you just got some hardware type synthesizer. What's heavy in it? There's some saw waves, sine waves, square waves, some triangular waves. What does it have is some filter cutoff and LFOs. Let me just look at my synthesizer and told you that. I got my Anyma's Mini Brew 2 and second oscillator it has sometimes an oscillator mixer, which type of sound you want, some ADSR envelopes and something like that. Okay, it's not that serum complicated synthesizer. Just think of like that. You're making some Anyma sound. How could you create that? Drop some saw waves into your sound, adjust the filter cutoff, then automate the filter cutoff with LFO, automate your pitch bend or anything like that, or tuner with your LFO too, and you create Anyma sound. You just need to use your LFOs or some automation into your synthesizer. Just think as like some standalone synthesizer, not just think as some serum. That's the most important part. You're using a synthesizer. Don't forget that. You're not using some serums like. Let me give my example here. I don't want to destroy my sound. You're not using some, let's say, spectral gremlin or some type of like that. You're just using those shapes. You have those shapes. Okay, those 7 shapes. Maybe you can even that one. Have that one. Okay, just think of yourself as you don't have your doll, anything. You just have your sound card and your synthesizer. How could you create that sound? Just think of like that. Okay, let's move on to the bass aggressive. Okay. That's the bad. This is the pitch band. Pitch parameter. Okay, so how could I create that sound? Again, I'm thinking myself as some synth. What does synth have is some square waves and some saw waves. This is my oscillator 2, this is my oscillator 1. I don't have any parameters like that. Maybe some noise. And I got my filter. I got second envelope and adjusted that to the filter. I'm just using a synthesizer. I'm just seeing some synth in here. Not seeing serum, okay? create two ADSR envelopes. You can create two AD envelope or ADSR envelope, and I just give it to your filter. Okay. And one of them has some unison with 6, and one of them is 5. I'm using a lot of unison to create much more sound or multiple voices over my sound. Let me just see that, right? Create some ambient surrounding your ears. And the effects pattern is much more effects. I'm using delays, distortion, and reverb. Actually, I'm not using distortion and reverb. If I want, I want to use it dirty. Okay, adjust it. And reverb is not. I'm not using it here. I just want to try to automate my sound. In this Ableton's plugins. So I'm going to use my reverb in here. Again, I'm cutting the low level part to not clash with my sub bass. So this is it for the sub bass. You can add much more basses whatever you want. Let's hear the. You can use that one. I'm just using Ableton stock plugins. And let's hear that one. I don't know what will come out. I will be going to show that sound too. I use it sound. That's clearly a noise. Let's look at its waveforms. I just got my square waves and saw waves. In this waveform, what we're going to see is some ripples of the saw wave. Okay, it's all going on. And square waves have much more ripples, right? Remember that. Some ripples got boosted, and it has some side lobes of sound. Let's see if we got true to that idea. Let's see. You see that, right? I can clearly see my ripples got down, and there's some side lobes. In high level part, I can clearly say there's some white noise in it because it's not identifying. You got some high noise. Let's close my noise. Okay, so this frequency is my ripples are clashing if I'm getting closer. Let's see in here. See that, right? Okay. So that's how you're going to adjust your sound like that. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright. Close that one. Okay, let me deactivate that. And let's come up with that one. Using a lot of automation. No. So how can I create that one? Let me see how much. That passes around 24 minutes. Nights. I will be closing around 30. Got some basics always. As I said, I'm a synthesizer, not serum. I don't have any serum. I just got my sound card and synth. How can I create that? Creating a pitch bend using a filter. Appended to some LFO. Okay. So appending to this to melody and the second envelope. And using some macros. So okay, let's see. I got my basic waves with a lot of unison, and adjust this phase with some macros. I got my first and second envelope with basic second envelope linked to the cutoff, and the second LFO I'm using LFO, which is not triggering, it's off, just going bar to bar. So this LFO is just adjusting the detunes of my wave, and this is link, two links, and this is my filter cutoff. Same LFO adjusting my filter cutoff and my EQ's frequency. If I want any dirty sound, I can adjust that too. And my velocity will actually change my filter cutoff. Okay. You can actually use your synthesizer pitch to adjust that sound too. Just think of yourself as a synth. You can do manually, or you can append your synthesizer LFO tool to your detune, your synthesizer panel in Minibird 2. You can do that. Actually, let me see if I can do that. Yes, I have my LFO in. Yeah, I see that. Okay, I can adjust my LFO to my pitch too. Yes. Okay. So you can do that in Minibird 2. In sound design, I recommend you to buy some basic synths like Minibird 2. I just said that like around 6 months. If you got stuck in sound design, just begin in the basics. Okay. Think of yourself as some synthesizer again. I'm just saying like 20 or 40 times in this video. Okay, so that's it for this video. This is how Anyma bass is created. I will see you guys in these videos. In the second videos, I will be going to add some vocals. I can add some vocals like that. And some pad sounds and ARPs. I'm going to add that one in my fourth video. Okay, so I will see you guys later. Have a really good day. And thanks for watching.